I knew you were going to ask me that story. I get asked to tell that story a lot. Well, this occurred as we were kind of all realizing that the WCW was a sinking ship.
Right.
I had, given up the Nitro Girls. I was turned heel as a character. Everything was, going along, but I was getting increasingly dissatisfied with work just because, like I said, just because you make the money doesn't mean you're happy. And I was working really hard, and, Dallas was gone way too much, and I was just getting to where, I just wanted to be home more. But the straw that broke the camel's back was Scott. He really was. It's an interesting thought to think of him as a straw, but very big straw. I had been progressively, Russo wanted me to get more and more physically involved every week. I had a match with Asia. I had, little spots with Liz. I had the thing with Jeff Jarrett breaking me over the head, and, Paige spanking me on the air. It was more, every week I'd show up to work, and there was more and more physical stuff that was happening. And I was like, dude, I'm not a wrestler.
Right.
Please, leave that stuff to somebody else. Just let me be a character. But so he had this idea in his head that I was going to go out on stage and flash Scott. And I was like, Vince, we're in an arena of 60,000 people. I'm not doing that. There's kids.
Right.
It's not like I was Joe Modest or anything. I had done Playboy. I was like, everybody in the world see my boobs, I mean, do we really have to go there? He was like, well, we don't really have to do it. We can just pixelate, the spot, but it won't make it, you just have to make it look like that, and then it'll be pixelated. And I was like, I don't really want to do that. And as I'm saying this, Scott is just like, you got to do what you're told to do, and we're the ones who put the asses in the seats, and stop having such a big ego, And I was just like, wait a minute. Who the hell, what are you doing? This is not your business,
right.
And so he called me a couple choice little names, the C word, which I hated. And I stormed off. I told Russo, I was like, he called me a see you next Tuesday. and, I demanded an apology, and Scott was like, I'm sorry, you heard it.
Right.
And I was just like, well, that won't do at all. Then I went to Eric, Poppa Eric, he called me to see you next Tuesday, and he's just, he was physically getting in my space, doing this to me. And I was like, dude, I'm a girl. What are you doing? He's physically coming toward me, threatening me. And I was just like, man, this is so not where I want my work environment to be. And
right.
So I was just like, you know what? I'm so done. I'm done with this show. And so I quit that day. And I said, Eric, I'm going home. I told Eric, he was the one that said, I went into his trailer and I said, I quit. And he was like, you're freaking kidding me. No, don't do that. I was like, I can't do it anymore. So he was like, cool. All right. I'm sure he didn't want to have to deal with it anymore either, so right. He let me go kind of easy. Come to think of it, no one really blocked the doors by accident. Right. So, anyway, I guess it ended up being a good thing for us all, but Paige didn't get told until after the show was over. I went back to the hotel. He goes back to the hotel, he's like, what the hell? What? And I was like, well, I quit today. And I didn't want to tell him why.
Right.
But he's like, you quit. You've got to tell me why. So I was like, well, this thing with Scott. And he was like, what? And he was pissed,
right.
And I was like, yeah, this is Scott. And, see you next Tuesday. So then it was on with the two of them.
Right.
You can't go calling somebody's wife that, I don't care what she does, Not in that business you can't. So, anyway, so what are you pointing at?
I need a jump.
So anyway, that, after I left, a couple weeks later, he came up to me in the gym, and he was he was Scott, you know, real sheepish. Kim, I'm sorry I said that.
Right.
And I was like, it's all right. Don't worry about it, you know. And at that point, I was like really happy that I had made the choice that I made anyway to leave.
Right.
I was just like, this is good. I can take horseback riding lessons now, you know, and stay home and do something with my house and, you know, plant some flowers. So it was a good thing.